Hi, welcome to AgriHQ&A. I'm Nicola. I'm joined with Croad and Suz Bremner. We're all AgriHQ analysts, and today we're going to be talking about the lamb market. Suz, the sale yards open this week. What's that done for the store lamb prices?
We actually saw the sale yards kick into gear last week with Stortford and Fielding. Both had store lamb sales, and wow, what a phenomenal difference. It just really, I think it really cements how much we need these sale yards to set benchmark prices. Everything has mainly been trading in the paddock, but the reopening of the sale yards has lifted on those paddock prices just phenomenally.
What sort of upside are we seeing, Suz? I mean, are they like kids in a lolly shop? You know, is it just the excitement of being able to be back in the yards and having that confidence to trade in a market they're more familiar with? Is that what's driving it?
Well, last week it was very much testing the waters, getting back into it, but there were a lot of smiles on not so much buyers' faces, but certainly sellers' faces when we saw a lift of around 30 to 40 cents a kilo on what's been trading in the paddock. So last week we saw around $2.90 to $3 a kilo on all the better lambs, where the paddock prices had been sitting around $2.60 to $2.70. So that lift in itself was fantastic, and it certainly gave the sellers the confidence that there is a market there. And so this week we've had Stortford Lodge yesterday, we had Canterbury Park in the South Island, and we've also had Temuka. All of those prices have just been phenomenal. We saw $3.20 to $3.30 for the better male lambs at Stortford yesterday. Ewe lambs with $3.20. We do, though, guys, need to, of course, to bear in mind that there are the drought-affected ones that are sort of off that pace. But then at Canterbury Park, we were looking at those levels even up to $3.60 in some cases. So, it's given a lot of people a lot of confidence, which, gosh, we need it. Any year, we need it.
Do you think we're in a bit of a honeymoon phase though? Because, you know, that jump is significant. And looking at the Stortford Lodge Livestock Eye report yesterday, you know, last year we were seeing lots of store lambs coming in from late May and through June. And we haven't really seen a bounce in the overseas markets or farm gate slaughter prices. Is it just, you know, do you see it lasting?
I think we're going to reach a level where it will stop there. But I think what a lot of concern is that there may not be that many lambs out there. I don't know what the kill stats are. You guys would obviously have more of an idea on that. But certainly talking to people around the traps, there is the concern that we might see a bit of a lift in numbers over the next few weeks, but then they're going to taper right off. And certainly people that were buying yesterday at Stortford were being able to kill, and so they were refilling. We've still got orchardists to come back into the play in Hawke's Bay. Mid-Canterbury were exceptionally strong at the Canterbury and Temuka sales, but I think they pulled a lot of their lambs out of Southland as well. So I do wonder if there is maybe a little bit of panic buying. We've got to get these lambs on. There is, of course, through Hawke's Bay, those lots that are drought affected, which essentially will come off the numbers of anything going forward. So
I had a little look at this in the Livestock Insight report for this week, looking at the store lamb procurement indicator, and even at, you know, this sort of week's trading levels, we're still a little light compared to the slaughter prices. So I'd say there's a little bit more confidence to come in there. But then we got to remember that this winter trading lamb season's not going to be like anything we've seen before in terms of what those international markets are doing.
Yeah, I particularly in the North Island, I would say we're not possibly going to see the numbers coming through store-wise that we saw last year. The North Island kills tracking about 100,000 ahead of last year already. And we were meant to have less lambs in the North Island this year. And then, you know, we've got to factor in the start of the year, just the truckloads that we're heading to the South Island. Now, they're only going to come back into the North Island for processing, They're not going to be on that store market. So yeah, I would be quite concerned as a trader, and maybe that's why we are starting to see some of that lift now, because they've been out of the market, and people are concerned about what those store land volumes are going to be like. And also, you look at the graphs, and store values only go one way from here. So
they do.
Yeah, I think it's just that real need to, like you say, they would have been buying them April, early May. So there's been that delay, and they're just playing that catch-up game and doing it relatively well in terms of good buying at this stage.
So just going back to those, sorry, Mel, just going back to those kill stats, those, you'd say those are up, said by about 100,000 head. Is that because there's been a lot more lighter lambs killed?
Yeah, so we had a hard and fast lamb kill in the North Island right from the get-go, really. And then with conditions on farm just not being really conducive to finishing or taking them on for longer, yeah, we have seen that kill hold up. It was up around 350,000 a week through mid-March before all the COVID lockdown. And now we are seeing a lot lighter lambs coming through. Yields aren't as great, particularly off grass. So yeah, we're going to be in some tight times slaughter-wise, particularly in the North Island, going over the next few months. What is encouraging is that as the supply of slaughter lambs has dropped in the last couple of weeks, we've actually seen a little bit of upside in prices, which does sort of tend to say that overseas markets are not shying away from demanding New Zealand lamb, but it is at a level. We've got to understand that although export returns are doing really well, they're being buffered along or pushed along by the New Zealand dollar and the position of that. But we've got to really see, we've talked about it before in our overseas markets, an improvement in the restaurant demand and the high-end value lamb cuts. We are starting to see international markets relax some of their COVID restrictions, but we've also got to weigh that up with any economic ramifications we may be seeing in those global markets to really say that we're going to see a strong lift in farm gate lamb prices through to spring. Yeah, what do you think, Nicola? I mean, it's still, we're still some way from saying it's game on.
Yeah, and you can't underestimate the effect that the New Zealand dollar is having in that as well, because most of those export price indicators that we put in the Livestock Insight, they're lower than last year, and they're even lower than 6 weeks ago. So if we were to see a rise in the currency, we would have to see a lift in our export prices to counteract that if we want to maintain our levels.
Yeah, I think we can't get complacent and just expect farm gate prices to lift from here to September, October, November, because it happens every year. I think, we've just come through such a volatile few months. There's no blueprint with COVID-19. We can hope for the best and hope that we continue to see upside, but it's got to be balanced with actually seeing that upside in market prices in our key markets overseas. And like Nicola said, we just haven't seen that in the last few weeks, and it's really only been the dollar that's kept those average export values high. So that's something, like I say, we've just got to keep monitoring those markets. And, and even the store guys need to as well, if they're going to continue to play a really strong game and demand those trade lambs. They've just got to be cautious about what the end margins are going to look like.
So maybe hope for the best, but still to some extent prepare for the worst.
Yeah, I think it's just monitoring what's going on, just following those markets. Don't just expect that it's going to, fire up. Like I said, we're nearly $1 behind this time last year in terms of farm gate prices. So, that is going to negate us getting to $9. Hopefully we still do see some upside from here. But like I say, we've just got to watch those overseas markets.
Yeah, and I'd add that like this winter more than ever, feed's going to be the king, because there's not those safety nets that we've had previously in terms of there aren't many regions out there that are doing better than last year in terms of feed. Most are doing average at best, or worse, much worse. So, you know, if you were to try and offload those lambs midwinter, I don't know if you have the confidence that those prices will be higher than when you bought. Who knows?
Yeah, I think you raise a good point actually, Nicola, too, because last year with the winter trade market being so strong, and you would have seen it too, Suz, guys were sort of, you know, offloading store lambs later in the season because the margin was there already from what they'd paid March, April to what they could sell again sort of June, July, August.
They were offloading stuff that hadn't even gained weight and making huge margins. Yeah.
But it just gained in value.
Hang on. They did tend to hang on to some of them to think, oh, it's only going to get better. And then it didn't.
Oh, yeah, and we got all those heavy carcass weights that the processors were complaining about. Yeah. All right, guys, I think that was a pretty robust discussion, so we'll probably end it there. Thank you. If any of our listeners want to get in touch with us, you can email us your questions at analysts at AgriHQ.co.nz. And of course, you're welcome to subscribe to our reports, which are on our website, AgriHQ.co.nz. All right, we'll catch you next week. Thanks.